Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Josh Chapman. Let's pray. Father, thank you for putting the desire to serve our fellow man in our hearts. Thank you, God, for this club that gives us the avenue to serve others. God, your word tells us that greater love have no man than this, than to lay down his life for his fellow man. Today, God, I pray that despite our busy schedules, we would pause long enough to share a kind word, to lift others up, and to just share the love that you've given to us. Bless our time here today together. We thank you, God, for all that you do through this club and the members of this club. Bless this food to our bodies and us to your service. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
And Terry, I was told changing up just a little second. Me and Josh made a visit this week with Jenny. I think it's just that one TV, guys. I know some of you, most of you know Ed Malone, and he hadn't been able to make it in a while. I think his son brought him 4, 5, 6 months ago, but he got awarded the honorary membership, but he also got his Paul Harris plus 70. So we took the time, rode out to his house, and spent a good half hour with him. He's doing good, mentally great. Not difficult getting up and down, but besides that, and he said he's been Zooming. He said he missed last week Zooming to us, but I told him he needed to Zoom this week because we're going to be talking not bad things about him, but good things about him. But hopefully he's watching and listening. You got anything, Josh?
No, it was great to go out there and hang out with him, and he loves Rotary. He did want to echo that he missed being here, and had great remarks about how much he cared about this club.
And I know he's not here, but if we can, let's give him a standing ovation. All right, Mr. Terry.
Good morning. Thank you, President Rick. Reflecting on Ed Malone, what a super guy. When I first came to Dothan, I needed to rent a building down in this area for sales and marketing and give away prizes to the station that I was managing over an enterprise. Looking around and just accidentally ran into him. He said, I might have something that you'd be interested in. Ended up renting a building from him. We built a great friendship. One of the finest people I think I've ever dealt with. And kudos. Thank you so much. Let's celebrate some birthdays. Leslie Bloomberg. Let me say Mr. Leslie Bloomberg. I'm sorry he's not here today. April 28th. Keith McAnulty on May 3rd. Pair of anniversaries to celebrate with families on May the 3rd. That's Jack Collier and Shirley and Brad Parrish. and his wife Heather. Hope you all have a fantastic week. Thanks.
Mr. Josh. Introduction of guests and visiting Rotarians.
Good afternoon. We're happy to welcome our guests and visiting Rotarians today. When I call your name, please stand. How's that? Would you please, when I call your name, would you please stand and remain standing until all visitors are recognized? Destiny Weaver, guest of Caitlin Skipper. Anybody, any other visitors? Any other visiting Rotarians we may have missed? All right. Thank you for visiting today with David.
Camp Aska, Miss Caitlin. Okay, so cheap. We don't buy tickets too early. 10, the last four is 1092. 1092. Oh, Marcus. Ken.
No, the first time. Second time in my career. First, four loser.
Which vote?
Four.
Four spades, all right. It rolls on. I know, it breaks my heart. Is Greg Gregory in the house? No, okay. Well, we'll announce it again when he's here so we can give him a pat on the back. He is our official suit drive winner. Gifts. I had to give somewhere. I made me ahead for myself. Okay. Nice cooler and a golf bag to carry your towels or your golf shoes, or if you play tennis, I guess you play carry your tennis shoes. But also there is a I don't know if y'all noticed, like Greg won when he won the Camp Aska, the Rotary mugs. So he actually won one of those too, but we had to order put your name on it. So if you run into him, tell him congratulations, but we'll hang on to him till next week or week's next. So a big clap for him. Hey, I think he did 50 cans, plus he brought 30 or 40 of those romaine noodles bags. So he beat me by one. So I'm just letting you know it was close. I could have cheated a little bit, I did. A little reminder, next board meeting is May the 12th, and we would love for the new board that starts in July to roll up with us for the next two meetings. But that is May the 12th, of course. I will send emails out. And can you get to our program? Mr. George Flowers.
Thank y'all all for being here today. Our program today is the new Promise Cancer Foundation. And let me first tell you a little bit about it before I introduce our guests. I think everybody here has in some form or fashion had to deal with someone who has cancer. We know the pain and the treatments and the emotions they go through, but one thing that we don't see sometimes is financial strain it puts on those families, not from paying for their drugs and health care. I mean, that'd be bad, but just travel and motel rooms and the other expenses in their lives that continue to go on while they're trying to deal with their loved one that is experiencing cancer. I know that a few years back, Davidson and I had an employee whose wife was going through cancer treatments and was going back and forth to the UAB. And after they got back, I was asking how they could get everything. And he said, I'm just exhausted. He spent 4 nights in the parking garage in the backseat of his car. So, you know, if I'd known, I think you might have known me, we would have reached out and tried to find some way to help this individual out, but, you know, that's the reality of dealing with, you know, the expenses you incur when you have someone you love that's going through treatment. Like I say, it's not just the drugs and the hospitalization and other things. So the New Promise Cancer Foundation is trying to address this. Our speaker today, and I'm going to introduce the first one, Suzanne Wood, who I think probably knows everybody in this room. And she will introduce Jill Jill Hoops, who is the executive director. But Suzanne is a native of Dothan, not born here, raised here. Graduated from Northview High School, attended Vanderbilt, one of Davis's, alumni there. Classmate, not classmates, you're a little bit younger. Given this year's your babysitter. But anyway, then went on to UAB, got her master's in healthcare administration, has been in the Wiregrass area in the healthcare field for her whole professional career, over 26 years. Over half of that has been spent as the CEO of either Flowers Hospital or a medical center over at your Rise. Since then, she has now become the Chief Executive Officer of Dothan Hematology and Oncology. She is married to Billy Woods. They have a daughter, Lily, a beautiful girl who is at Auburn right now. So with that, I would like to introduce Suzanne Woods. I always want to say Suzanne White. That's you more down front, wherever you want to be.
This will be good. Thank you so much. Just let me know if that needs to change. So he knew not to try to hug me because he said he's had the rotator cuff surgery on both sides, and I've had just one with a little bicep repair. So I can't even imagine having two. So God bless George. Thank you so much for giving Jill and I the opportunity to speak today. And to be at this microphone, I would be remiss to not acknowledge Dr. Paul Flowers and the absolute impact he had on my life. I knew him personally growing up at First Methodist Church and just knowing the family. But then I had the privilege of starting to work at Flowers Hospital in 1995. And although Dr. Flowers no longer owned and operated the hospital, I got to see him quite often. And he exuded kindness like nobody else. And it became the fabric of the culture when I was working at Flowers Hospital. And he had such an impact on the person and the leader that I am today. And I just want to acknowledge that here. And George, I know you know what a great man your father was. I'm assuming he was as great at home as he was at the four walls of the hospital, which I say that jokingly because we know that he was. Or George and Laura would not be such awesome people. They raised three great kids, and Davis and Leah and Emily. So just wanted to say that. And anyone who knew Dr. Flowers knew that about him. You know, he was all about kindness and practicing the golden rule. That's what we're all about here in this room. So in the year 2021, I was working 24/7 as usual in the hospital world. And fortunately, Dr. Scott McAllister gave me a call and said, "Leah is retiring. Would you have any interest in come working for us?" And quite honestly, I often said I will never work for a physician, okay? As much as I loved them, I just wasn't quite sure I was ready to put all the eggs in that basket. But I thought, well, Dr. Scott McAllister, Joanna Blackman, and John Dunn are three physicians I would absolutely work for and with. So that's what led me to go to Dothan Hematology and Oncology. And when I started, there were three major objectives that they had from me. Number first, recruit, because Dr. John Dunn was going to be retiring after practicing for 33 years of medicine. So we checked that box. We've got a couple now. One, Dr. Tweedley Kumar, who has started. Her husband will be starting in July, Dr. Vikas Lee Kumar. The second thing they wanted us to get going was clinical trials. Because as you may know, in healthcare, especially cancer care, most clinical trials are available at academic health centers. And just what George was referencing first, we can't afford oftentimes those travels or those availabilities. So we have implemented now clinical trials. At this time, patients who have breast cancer or lung cancer can come to what we call Allison. That's a division that's part of Dothan Hematology and Oncology. and receive care if they qualify that. And we're continuing to look for new opportunities for that. With that, I saw my friend Wayne Palmer. We have worked with Watson Downs, and we are going to be implementing a new technology that we're bringing to the Wiregrass called radiopharmaceuticals. So just to mention a little bit about that, just like cancer care has historically just been infusion treatment, then it has progressed. About 35% of our patients can get oral chemocare. The next care is going to be these radiopharmaceuticals, where nuclear medicine will be injected directly where that cancer tumor is. Right now, prostate is what it's approved for. If you watch TV, look for Lutathera and Pluvicto. Those are these new types of treatments, and immediately you go into a SPECT scan or a PET scan for that treatment to see immediately if it's working. So by October, we should be up and running with that, thanks to the space and the assistance of Wayne and Watson and his great team there. So be looking for that as an opportunity as cancer treatments and things evolve. And again, our goal is, what can we do to keep patients right here in the Wiregrass without requiring them to travel? Otherwise, they would be going at least 3 or 4 hours to get that treatment. The third, which is why I'm here today, was we want us to implement a foundation. We knew there was a need just with our patient clientele with assistance. We, our physicians and employees, gave cash and gift cards. So when patients needed help with traveling or needed food or needed assistance, we would just kind of go get that money and give it to our patients. So we knew there was a need, but we wanted to expand that and make that something that we could provide for all people in the Wiregrass who had cancer, not just our patients. So we did implement that at the end of 2023. Well, no, sorry, we're almost at this, at the end of 2023. So quickly realized that we definitely had a need with the foundation, and that we were going to need an individual to lead that for us, which leads me to Jill Hoops. And so Jill, I actually, it was an ultimate God week. We needed some help with social media because I'm 54 and I don't know about y'all, but I can't do all that very well. And so really no one else in our practice had the bandwidth to add that to their list of duties. So someone said, oh, there's this awesome person named Jill Hoops. She's from Dothan. She's back in Dothan now. She has a job, but she does some of that on the side. So I called Jill, set up a call with her. About 2 minutes into the call, she expressed to me that she had 8 years of experience working in the not-for-profit sector. She had an undergraduate and master's degree from the University of Alabama in communications and all the things. And I said, whoa, we're not going to talk here any longer about social media. We need you to come be our executive director. So that is kind of the short of how Jill came into being. What's beautiful about Jill is, as beautiful as she is beautiful on the inside. She has such a passion for helping patients, helping cancer patients and their families. So my goal was just to come up here and tee it up for her, because you are in for a real treat to get to hear. Oh, one thing that's really important, I'm sorry, the fundamental thing that when we started our cancer foundation, I contacted about 5 or 6 other cancer foundations in the state of Alabama to hear how they did their foundation. I'm all about not reinventing the wheel. Life's too short for that. Many of them, one of my fundamental questions was, do you pay yourself? Like, if there's a copay that's needed, does your foundation pay your practice? Most of them did. But there was just something about that that just didn't sit right for me. And ultimately, our physicians agreed. I didn't want to be raising money, writing money, a check myself, just for that to go back to Dothan Hematology and Oncology. Feel like a conflict of interest, even though it was perfectly legal. Seemed like that just, didn't sit well with me. Fortunately, our physicians completely agreed. So I just want you to know that while we pay other hospitals, we pay other physician groups, we support the patients and whatever they need. We do not make checks to Dothan Hematology and Oncology. So just first and foremost, I wanted to say that. Number 2, we made the decision, we're not raising money for bricks and mortar or equipment. Those are needed things. Those are valued things. But for us, with our heart and where our physicians wanted to see the money go, is how can we help our patients and their families reduce their financial burden? So Pharma also does some fundraisers with us that allow us to cover all of our overhead. So 100% of any check, any money that we receive goes directly to patients. They would like us to spend that money. So it's set up really good, really clean. I can put it on the front page of the paper and feel good about it. So that's one of the many reasons I'm proud to stand before you today and introduce you to Jill Hoops, who's our executive director. She's going to tell you all about the great ways that we can make a positive difference in life.
That was great. Thank you so much for that introduction and for to all of you for having me today. My name is Jill Hoops, and I'm the executive director at the New Promise Cancer Foundation. We are a nonprofit located here in Dothan that works to provide financial assistance and other support services for cancer patients and their families in the Wiregrass. So Suzanne talked a little bit about the formation of New Promise, but the physicians and leadership team at Dothan Hematology Oncology formed our organization in 2023 with the vision of being able to offer practical support for patients through assistance with gas, transportation, groceries, or medical bills. And the physicians and board of directors that are on the New Promise Cancer Foundation board are Dr. McAllister, Dr. Dunn, who is now retired, Dr. Blackman, and Suzanne Wood, the CEO at DHO. I started at New Promise at the end of 2023 and immediately got to work to roll out some programs. We currently have 2 operating programs. Our financial assistance program can help offset the cost of household expenses such as utility bills, transportation costs, and more for eligible patients in the Wiregrass. And our goal through this program is that no one should have to choose between accessing high quality cancer care or treatment and paying for basic household essentials. The Wall Street Journal released an article explaining that cancer can create a very difficult financial strain on individuals and their families. And they wrote that the treatments with expensive medicine start immediately and can come with a lot of non-medical costs. So chemo and other treatments can also leave patients too weak to work and for weeks or even months. So the financial fallout from a diagnosis can last for years, even if somebody is employed or was previously recently employed. But luckily, through individual and corporate donations, New Promise can help alleviate some of that burden by helping them access financial or emotional support that's available right here in our community. Many people may need help finding resources to help them with food or travel and other household or medical needs. So along with us providing direct support to these patients, we also use our relationships with other organizations in our community that are already here, providing similar types of support. So it's not uncommon for a patient to not have the time or the energy or even sometimes the knowledge to know where to look for these resources. So we help advocate for them by learning what resources are available and then introducing them to other. Last year was our first year of operation, and we were able to distribute over $100,000 in direct support to patients in the Wiregrass. And that includes patients in Eufaula, New Brockton, Sampson, and beyond. Of that $100,000, over $23,000 of that helped patients with gas and transportation, like flights or shuttle services to and from treatment. Over $30,000 of that helps cover utility bills such as electricity or heat and water payments. We made rent and mortgage payments, totaling just over $20,000, and then the remainder of that $100,000 helped with food cards and medical supplies, medical bills, and unfortunately more recently childcare payments. So I guess to put it into perspective, in the last year, in our first year of operation, so 12 months, we distributed over $100,000. And as of January 1st of this year to today, we've already allocated just over $110,000 to patients that are enrolled in our financial assistance program. So I think that shows the need for the program is great, and we are only able to provide the support through individual and corporate donations. So again, we support patients that live in the Wiregrass regardless of where they receive treatment. We connected with the patient navigators at Southeast Health, the team at Mission Oncology, and have been able to provide assistance for their patients. Most a recent, story is we had a patient apply for assistance. And it so happened that he had found himself homeless and was still able to pursue his treatment. And so, with the support from other organizations, in our community, a provider on his, at his team reached out to us, and we were able to pay for, 2 weeks at an extended stay, hotel for him. And while he finished up his treatment, we ended up ringing the bell and now, and I think that's just what kind of a happy story to hear because, of course, with a cancer diagnosis, I think it can be hard to find that. So, right now we have 2 full-time employees, myself and our financial assistance coordinator, Reese. And Reese works closely with the patients we serve and their family members to explain how we can assist them and walk them through the different types of assistance we can provide and make sure that we provide the support that's unique to their journey. Another program that we introduced last year is our Cancer Connection program, which is a volunteer-led free resource network that provides local social and emotional support for patients, survivors, and caregivers in our community. We hosted several meetings last year and we'll have some more coming up this year, but some of the topics include stress and stress management, a support group for caregivers and loved ones, a men's cancer support group, and more. We just wrapped up our second annual Promise Partner campaign, which is an annual fundraising campaign that we do throughout the month of March that invites 25 individuals in our community to join us as Promise Partners, and they work together throughout the whole month to raise awareness of different types of cancers and funds to support our mission. Thanks to their hard work and the support from their loved ones and our sponsors in our community, that campaign raised over $60,000 in just 1 month and introduced our mission to countless more. We also have our second annual golf tournament coming up, the Jennifer Leverett Memorial Golf Classic. That will happen on August 1st. And we have sponsorship and teams available for that, but we accept donated goods like nutritional supplements, gas cards, blankets, and more, and distribute those in the community. And if you'd like to stay in touch with us, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and our website is newpromisefoundation.org. And I think that's all I had. Did anyone have any questions? Okay. Any questions?
Story about the house or with the patient. Where you were able to pay the rent.
Yeah, so we had just, I feel like we've maybe been operating for like 6 months, and it's definitely a learn as you go situation. But Dr. McAllister called us and said that he was in the room with a patient. I believe it was maybe stage 3 or 4 cervical cancer. She has several children at home and is a single mother, and I think it was around 34, 35. And he said that while he was discussing her, I guess, treatment plan and diagnosis, she had received 2 or 3 phone calls from her landlord saying that if she didn't get her rent paid, he would have to kick all of them out by the end of the day. We were able to luckily get connected with her. She filled out an application and get her rent paid, and she's still in her house, and that was a year ago. We paid her rent several times since then, but that's just one story. I think that sometimes we have to move kind of quick because if they're having a hard time before a diagnosis, it can kind of take, the diagnosis can take a lot from them emotionally and financially. So, yeah.
So, is this assistance mostly for low-income people, or could it be for somebody who normally would not have problems with their bills, but they've been going for so long and so long that they end up kind of running out of funds? Those kind of people apply?
That's a great question. On average, the we have around 87 patients enrolled. The average income for them is around $25,000. We do accept applications, and especially if there is no income or a sudden change in income, we just ask the patient to kind of attest to, I currently do not have income at this time, just for our records. But luckily, we haven't had to turn anyone away that is eligible and has applied for the program, which is great. So we haven't received, a whole lot of applications for, I guess, higher income individuals. But again, mostly around $25,000 is the income, and the average age being around 65.
What area do you cover?
We cover all of the Wiregrass areas. So we've helped patients that are in Troy, Eufaula, I'm trying to think, Panama City, towards that area, one of those more rural areas, and then Albany, just the whole encompassing area.
How many people do y'all have right now?
Employees, we have 2 employees right now. It's myself and our financial assistant coordinator, Reese.
What about transportation being patient?
More specifically, are you asking how often we help with transportation, or that? That's a big category, and I actually printed off today kind of a breakdown. When it was formed, we knew transportation would be a big part, and even now that we're here, it's such just a challenging part of this program, because most of the time, if a patient doesn't have transportation, they can't make it, or if it's not reliable, or gas, all of those things add up. So transportation, it looks like, is the largest category that we make payments to, and that's through Shell gas cards, that's through flights, we partner with AML Services, which is a non-ambulatory transportation service that transports patients to and from appointments. And so far, in almost 5 months, we have allocated almost $32,000 in transportation costs alone. We started doing some car payments too to help people kind of catch up, and then car insurance as well, so that they can kind of have that burden lifted and focus on going to treatment and make it.
I'm sorry. Do y'all, is it mainly also like donations, or have any grants, like any other funding other than just like people putting their money into it?
That's a great question. Yeah, so all of our programs are operated solely off donations from individuals and organizations. We do partner with oncology pharmaceutical companies. We have 4 oncology vendor fairs a year, and these companies pay for a table, and the physicians and team at Dothan Hematology Oncology so graciously attend these events and walk through and learn about their products. And so those events cover our expenses and more. And of course, we're at Dothan Hematology Oncology, where we kind of don't really have a whole lot of expenses, but everything else is all the funds that we are able to distribute come from the community, individuals, and then our Promise Partner campaign, and then of course the golf tournament. But we have not applied for any grants yet, and hope to start doing that in the next year or so.
I know a lot of people, a lot of times, do not use services here locally and they choose to go to another facility. But in respect to that, I know many people may have gone somewhere else for surgery or whatever, but after treatments are done locally. Is there a percentage of those that now that once may have went somewhere else for their initial treatment, but now getting their treatments here locally? Is there any kind of knowledge of how that has changed and how our services are to be able to do that, keep people have continued to travel,
Due to this program,
or just a program or in general?
That's a great question about percentages. I bet our physicians would have a better feel for that than I do. But and our physicians are very open to second opinion. My whole feeling is if you ever go to a physician and they're not open to you going and get second opinion and then taking care of you, you probably don't want to see them. It's my personal opinion. That's all it is. Anyway, but they're very open to that. And oftentimes they'll really get the second opinion and they'll help write the script for what those treatments should be at home. Even beyond just the first initial. I don't honestly have a percentage of that, but I bet our physicians would, because again, ours are very open to that.
and I think that would be a good thing for us to kind of keep track of too, that I hadn't really thought about. Recently we have a patient enrolled who lives in Ebola, and she is in her 30s and was diagnosed with, I think might have been stage 2 colon cancer. She did not have reliable transportation at all to even start her treatment, and her providers kind of made a point to reach out to us and let us know, you know, she can make it here, or she will make it through this, and she has young kids, but she just doesn't have transportation and doesn't live that close. So I think that would be one example, because I think that would have been one patient that kind of, maybe would have suffered who, thanks to Thomas and the generous support from the community who has been able to receive that help.
Well, thank you, George. Great program. Thank you, Susan. Again, next week's program, we got Randy Morris, the tax man, the revenue tax man. So he will be here next week for the speaker, and if we can rise to the 4-week test, please. Other things we think, say, and do.
Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it benefit goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
God bless you and have a great day.